Hey, what's up, Pump Force? Today, we're going to have a look at adventures and what's the best way to grind them. Stick around. Before we start, I just want to let you know that I stream on Twitch Monday through Friday. Link in the description down below. So if you have any questions or just want to stop by, talk, play against me, come through and we can hang out. Now let's get into it. This guide is meant to be a generic guide applicable to all adventure types because they didn't really change the formula at all in the last couple of months. So this guide applies until I make a new one. There are multiple reasons to farm adventures. Most people do it for the missions that drop chrono crystals, summon tickets, skip tickets, and other items. On top of that, you can exchange the items in the exchange shop for energy, rising and super souls, more skip tickets, and so on. If you're competitive, then your main reason is probably to contribute a lot of guild points, as the adventures are the biggest contributors to your collector points. If you're interested, I have an entire video on guild points and how to farm them efficiently, which I will link in the card up here and in the description down below. So adventures can be farmed or obtained from different places. You can get them from PvP, from different exchange shops, from story events, from special events like Legends Road or Rising Battles, and from login bonuses. When using the adventures, make sure that you check the news. They will tell you what characters boost the probability of dropping a great or huge success, giving you more items. Make sure that all the characters you use are maxed out at level 5000, as that will greatly increase the chances of getting a great or huge success. The max level is even more important than having the correct color. Auto select usually does pretty well, but it's also greedy. So if you want to completely maximize your chances and there are not enough characters of the right color and tag available to fill all the character slots, then aim for having at least one character of the right tag and color in each adventure. When going to the adventure menu, you will see that there are adventure slots. The first 3 are completely free. Slot 4 and 5 can be unlocked using adventure keys obtained from the rare metal shop. In my eyes, this is the most valuable item from this shop, and you should always keep enough rare metals around to replenish your adventure slots there. Each of these slots costs 10 adventure keys to unlock. You can hold a maximum of 9.99. Now slot 6 and 7 can be unlocked using the keys from the Z metal shop. Z metals can be obtained by pulling an already 14-star character. So same here, I recommend prioritizing the adventure slots over every other item in this shop and aim to unlock all 7 slots. Slot 6 costs 10 adventure keys, slot 7 costs 20, and we will look at why this is important later. There are 4 different types of adventures that you could do. 1 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours, and 23-hour adventures, which all drop different amount of items, but we'll get into that in a second when we go into the maths. The 23-hour adventures are only obtainable from the login bonus. Since it's gated there, you can only run 1 adventure a day. If you run the 23-hour adventure, run it on the last adventure slot, as that's the most expensive one and you will not need to replenish it as much. So let's get into the calculations. But before we do that, let's look at the structure of the missions. Usually the missions look like this. You get a lot of stuff, then a valuable summon ticket at 120,000 items dropped. Then the max mission is at 180,000 items dropped for 100 chrono crystals, and you have a week to finish all of that. Usually you also get 100 chrono crystals at 50,000 items dropped, but that's pretty easy, so we're not going to really take that into consideration. Let's have a look at the calculations now to see how you can reach this. We will first look at the adventures and their drops individually before moving on to different models of using them that best fit your schedule while guaranteeing you the mission rewards. For the calculations, I will use 4 great and 1 huge successes for 5 adventure slots and 5 great and 2 huge successes for 7 slots. Great success gives you 5 drops, while huge success gives you 7. We will ignore the special items as they drop very infrequently, and the only chance of dropping them from my experience is from the 3, 7, and 23-hour adventures. So let's start with the 1-hour adventures. These usually drop around 130 items per drop. And if you don't have any Z medals and use 5 adventure slots, this is what it's going to look like. The great successes will drop you 4 times 130 times 5 equals 2,600 items per hour, while the huge success will drop 130 times 7 equals 910 items per hour. That gives us a total of 3,510 items in 1 hour for 5 adventure slots. Comparing that to 7 adventure slots, for the great successes you'll get 5 times 130 times 5 equals 3,250 items, and the huge success drops you 2 times 130 times 7 equals 1,820 items, giving you a total of 5,070 items per hour. That's an almost 50% increase, which is partially due to the fact that I calculated with 2 instead of 1 huge successes here, but that's also my experience, so that usually happens on 7 adventure slots. The 3-hour adventures drop around 240 items per job. With 5 slots, the great successes drop 4 times 240 times 5 equals 4,800 items, plus an additional 240 times 7 equals 1,680 items from the great success, coming out at 6,480 items in total. For 7 slots, you gain 5 times 240 times 5 equals 6,000 items for the great success, plus 2 times 240 times 7 equals 3,360 items for the 2 huge successes. The total is 9,360 compared to 6,480, so again, an almost 50% increase. The 7-hour adventures drop around 500 items per job on average. So for 5 slots, that comes out at 10,000 items for the great successes, plus 3,500 items for the huge successes, totaling 13,500 items in 7 hours. With 7 slots, you gain 5 times 500 times 5 equals 12,500 items for the great successes and 7,000 items for the huge successes. So the total here is 19,500 in 7 hours. The 23-hour adventures drop around 1,900 items on average. Since they can only be done once a day, we'll just look at one of them. If this is a great success, you'll get 9,500 items in 23 hours. If it's a huge success, you will get 13,300 items in 23 hours. We will compare the 23 hours adventures to the other 3 types in a little bit to see whether it's worth it or not. So let's look at all the adventures on equal terms and exclude a 23-hour adventure for now. This means we will normalize it to 7 hours. Let's start at 5 adventure slots. The 1-hour adventures drop 3,510 times 7 equals roughly 24,500 items in 7 hours. The 3-hour adventures will drop you around 15,120 items in 7 hours, while the 7-hour adventures drop 13,500. For 7 slots, the difference is roughly the same. So the 1-hour adventures drop you 5,070 times 7 is 35,500 items. 3-hour adventures drop you around 21,500 items, and the 7-hour adventures drop you 19,500 items. As you can see now, the 1-hour adventures are far, far superior to the other 2. The difference between 3-hour and 7 hours is so small that you might as well just do the 7 hours and chill. You want to know if you can still get all the missions or buy the items you want from the shop. We'll have a look at different models here. And remember, the missions are 120,000 items drop for the summon ticket and 180,000 items drop for the last 100cc within a week. Model 1 is what I call the grinder. So you do 12 rotations of 1-hour adventures and a 7-hour rotation before going to sleep. With 5 adventure slots, this nets you 12 times 3,510 plus 13,500, so 55,620 items a day. That means you will finish the last mission in a little bit over 3 days, with about half the time to spare. You will also collect around 278,100 guild points each day, or almost 2 million guild points per week. With 7 adventure slots, you gain 12 times 5,070 plus 19,500, so 80,340 items a day. That means you will get the last mission in just over 2 days. On top of that, you will collect 400,000 guild points every day, which will come out at 2.8 million guild points every week from adventures alone. So that's not including Ultra Space Time Rush and so on. The second model is what I call the CBA. If you don't know what CBA means, Google it. Here you use 3-hour adventures 5 times a day and 1 7-hour rotation before going to bed. With 5 adventure slots, you will drop 5 times 6,480 plus 13,500, so 45,900 items per day. That would give you at the last 100 chrono crystals in just under 4 days. You will also contribute 229,500 guild points every day, or around 1.6 million guild points a week to your guild's success. With 7 adventure slots, you get 5 times 9,350 plus 19,500, so you get 66,300 items a day. Less than 3 days and you'll have the last mission done, plus you'll get 331,000 guild points a day, or roughly 2.3 million every week. The third and last model is the casual. You just do 3 rotations of 7-hour adventures a day and call it a day. That's it. 1 in the morning, 1 midday, and 1 before going to sleep. With 5 adventure slots, you will get 40,500 items a day. So you'll finish the last mission in about 4.5 days. Still 2.5 days to spare. Roughly 200,000 guild points a day or 1.4 million a week will be added to your guild's tally as well. For 7 slots, you get 3 times 19,500, so 58,500 items a day, finishing the last mission in pretty much 3 days and 1 rotation. You'll also collect 292,500 guild points per day or about 2 millions per week. As you can see, all of these models can finish the missions in time with a lot of room to spare. Most are done in less than half the time. Now, if you want to really grind points for your guild or you just want to buy as much as possible from the exchange shop, you should do 1-hour adventures as much as possible. Let's look at where the adventures break even against each other. We'll start by comparing the 1 and 3-hour adventures. At 5 slots, 2 rotations of 1-hour adventures drop 7,020 items, while 1 rotation of 3 hours drops 6,480. So you already gained 600 items or 3,000 guild points here. The difference at 7 slots is similar at 10,140 versus 9,360, coming out at around 800 items gained for 2 rotations of 1-hour adventures. Comparing the 1-hour adventures to the 7-hour adventures, you are gaining with the 4th rotation of 1-hour adventures. At 5 slots, you get 4 times 3,500 equals around 14,000 items versus 13,500 items in one 7-hour rotation. If you manage to do full 7 rotations in that time, the difference is over 11,000 items. With 7 slots, this is pretty similar. 4 1-hour rotations get you 20,280 items versus 19,500 items in 7 hours. 7 full 1-hour rotations increase the difference to 16,000 items, which comes out from 5,500 over 19,500. How do the 3-hour adventures stack up to the 7 hours? I said earlier that you may as well just do 7 hours altogether, so let's see if this is true. 2 rotations of 3-hour adventures at 5 slots drop 12,960 adventures, while 1 7-hour rotation gets you 13,500. At 7 slots, you get 18,720 items for 3-hour rotations versus 19,500 for 7 hours. Now I know that there is still 1 hour to account for, but the difference is so little that the 3-hour adventures make little to no sense to me. Especially if you miss 1 rotation, you end up with even less drops, so go for 7 hours instead and just have peace of mind. Now for shits and giggles, let's compare these with the 23-hour adventures. Since the 23-hour adventures can only be obtained and run once a day, we will compare the number of adventures rather than the number of rotations of the other adventures. We will use only great successes here to make the calculations a little bit easier, but most likely you'll get a few huge successes here and there, which means you will probably need less adventures than we will show in a second. The 23-hour adventure with a great success drops 9,500 items in 23 hours. A great success for 1-hour adventure drops roughly 650 items. 9,500 divided by 650 is 14.6. So at 15 adventures, you start gaining compared to one 23-hour adventure. This means you can run 1-hour adventures over the 23-hour one, but you need to hit at least 15 adventures in that slot or you're worse off. A great success for a 3-hour adventure drops roughly 240 times 5, so 1,200 items. 9,500 divided by 1,200 is 7.9, so we'd be better off after 8 rotation or after 8 adventures. Since 8 times 3 is 24, you already see that this isn't the way to go. I expect the same for 7-hour adventures since they're almost the same. A great success drops 2,500 items. That means you'd need 4 adventures to get more items than the 23-hour adventure. But 4 times 7 is 28 hours, so nah. Now these models aren't entirely realistic because most of the times you run shorter adventures during the day and a 7-hour adventure before going to sleep. So let's have a look at combinations of 1 and 3-hour adventures with 1 7-hour adventure before going to bed. The 7-hour adventure is fixed and drops 5 times 500, so 2,500 items at a great success. To find out where we break even, we use 9,500 divided by 2,500 plus x and make it come out at 1. That means we'd need to drop 7,000 items from adventures. For 1-hour adventures, this is at 7,000 divided by 650, so around 11 adventures, plus the 1 7-hour adventure to go ahead of the 23-hour adventure. For 3-hour adventures, it happens at 6 rotations or 6 adventures, plus the 7-hour adventure, which is impossible because 6 times 3 is 18, and adding the 7-hour adventure, it comes out at 25 hours versus the 23-hour adventure. So to recap, the only way to improve over the 23-hour adventure is to either run 15 or more 1-hour adventure, or to run 11 of the 1-hour adventures or more and 1 7-hour adventure before going to bed. You decide if you can and want to do that. Also keep in mind that that means you will have to replenish your adventure slots more often, as you cannot just run one adventure over 23 hours and basically have 10 adventure slots for 10 days. In summary, the 1 hour adventures are by far the most efficient way to finish all the missions and get all items from the shop fast. 3 hour and 7 hour adventures are so close to each other that I would not recommend the added risk of failure, of forgetting a 3 hour rotation, and just go for the 7 hours instead. The 23 hour adventures are a nice addition. Seeing as you can only run one every day, I recommend running it in your last adventure slot, as that's the most expensive one. If you can, buy the black adventure slot from the Z-Metal shop and you're good to go. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm happy about any feedback in the comments or on my Twitch, where I stream Monday through Friday, link in the description down below. If this video helped you, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. With that, I hope you have a good rest of your day, you're safe, and I'll see you all in the next ones. Pop Force, disassemble. Bye everybody.